Hey, it's CJ Willie and I'm cracking a pack. Today is pack number 9 of my science project of cracking a 1990 top Cello box. Check out my preview video for the explanation on how this science project will test the theory to see if I can build a complete set from a Cello box. I've added a link to my 1990 top Cello box preview video in the description below. With every pack that I crack, I'm going to share my thoughts and memories about some of the players or cards. When I'm done cracking the pack, I'm going to choose the best card of the pack. Doesn't mean it has to be a rookie or superstar or Hall of Famer. I mean, it might be something that's funny about the card, something interesting about the player, or maybe some memory I had of the player from back in the day. All right, enough talking. Let's crack the pack. So we are on pack number 9. Let's get pack number 9 out of there. Move that off to the side. Here we go. Still looking for a couple of the key rookies out of the box. Larry Walker, Sammy Sosa. If you check out my previous videos, you will see some of the rookies that we have pulled. Let's get the gum out of there. Get started. Okay. Jason Grimsley had a pretty interesting career as a Philly. He, I think, later got caught up in the steroid scandal with Albert Bell, so that'd be something that'd be really interesting to check out. Paul Osemacher spent a lot of time with the Braves and the Cubs as a lefty specialist reliever. Mark Williamson, he came up and had a really great year as a reliever. His first couple of years after that didn't have the same sort of success that he enjoyed at the very beginning. Jimmy Jones, middle reliever. I think he started with the Padres and then went to the Yankees. Yeah, Padres and then Yankees. Al Leiter. So Al Leiter had a pretty distinguished career. His 1988 rookie card is interesting because there's an error where it's got another pitcher, a young pitcher in the Yankees system. I think his name was George Canale, and it pictured him, and then they corrected the version to show Al Leiter. Had a brother by the name of Mark Leiter that also pitched, and a nephew, Mark Leiter Jr., has pitched in the major leagues as well. John Costello, middle innings reliever for the Cardinals. Felix Jose came up with a lot of promise at the A's. He was part of the trade that I did not like at all. Cardinals sent Willie McGee to the A's in exchange for Felix Jose. One-sided trade. Willie McGee was one of my favorite players. Didn't like Felix Jose, mainly for that reason. Willie McGee, interestingly enough, won the batting title in the year he was traded. He somehow qualified to have enough at-bats with a high enough average that he won his second batting title. Darren Jackson, pinch hitter, backup outfielder, Cubs and Padres. Don Paul. I always laughed because I think of Don Pardo, the longtime Saturday Night Live announcer, whenever I'd hear the name Don Paul. Chris Bosio, pitcher with the Brewers. He became a pitching coach. Said some insensitive remarks a few years ago and has pretty much never been hired by any major league team since then. Danny Cox. I really like Danny Cox. Of course, I'm a Cardinals fan. The three-headed pitching triumvirate of Joaquin Andujar, John Tudor, and Danny Cox in 1985 were just about unstoppable. I think Joaquin Andujar led the club with 21 wins, John Tudor had 20, and Danny Cox had 18. Shortly thereafter, he blew out his I think it was his shoulder, and came back later as a middle reliever with the Blue Jays. Ryan Sandberg, All-Star. Let's see what he, on the back of the All-Star cards, he was noted for runs. So he had tied for the most runs in the National League in 1989. I hated when Ryan Sandberg would play against the Cardinals. He would just terrorize them. Great player. Deion Sanders, this is not his rookie card. He had some rookie cards in 1989 traded and update sets. 1989 was the first year that it was rookies were recognized in the update sets, traded sets, because they were more plentiful, easier to get. So 1990, I think, was his first regular issue card. Bobby Thigpen, closer for the White Sox. For a long time, he held the Major League record for the most saves in a season. see, Julio Franco. So we're getting some repeats already in our Cello box, so trying to complete a set's going to be a little bit hard. Julio Franco, the Ageless Wonder. Topps Company Store, get yourself a binder. Yep, we're starting to see some of these cards that we've seen previously. Marty Peavy, backup catcher with the Expos. I think this 89 was the only year that he had major league experience. Tom Browning pitched a no-hitter. I can't remember if it was a perfect game or not. Chris Carpenter, not to be confused with a famous Chris Carpenter. Famous Chris Carpenter spelled his name C-H-R-I-S. This Chris Carpenter was a #1 draft pick by the Cardinals, but spent most of his time as a middle reliever. Art Howe managed the A's and Astros, had a long, distinguished career as an infielder. Jeffrey Leonard. So my memory of Jeffrey Leonard, one flap down. For those that remember the 1987 playoffs, Cardinals and the Giants, Jeffrey Leonard had a lot of fame circulating around him. I believe he hit home runs in 4 straight games in the NL Championship Series. And part of his deal was the way he would have one pocket out, tucked in, and then the other pocket out was his one flap wave as he ran around the bases. Mickey Tettleton started up as a backup catcher for a while and then later came to prominence as power hitting DH. Dave LaPointe, he was a Cardinal with the 1982 World Series championship team. Pretty much a mediocre lefty, bounced around quite a bit. He was part of the trade that brought, I think, John Tudor to the Cardinals. No. He was part of the trade for Jack Clark. I believe he went to the Giants, and the Cardinals picked up Jack Clark with a bunch of minor league prospects. Yeah. In '84, at the end of the year, he was traded to the Giants for Jack Clark. Lee Guterman, pretty much a lefty specialist. Charlie Huff, another ageless wonder. I believe Charlie Huff ended his major league career with a 500 wins-loss record, somewhere around like 211 and 211. I like Charlie Huff. He threw a knuckleball. When I was playing high school baseball, I always tried to throw a knuckleball. I could never throw it with the same success that Charlie Huff had it. Jose Oquendo, another Cardinal. Jose Oquendo was a great utility player. Toward the middle part of his career, he was the starting second baseman after the Cardinals traded Tommy Herr. He has the notoriety of, I think, in not only just one game, but in a couple of games, playing every position, including pitcher. Alfredo Griffin was a Blue Jay starting shortstop. Tony Fernandez come up. He eventually made his way to the A's and then the Dodgers. Paul Gibson. If that doesn't strike terror in Major League hitters, I don't know what does. Paul Gibson is part of the famous 1989 Score era card, where he's getting ready to deliver a pitch, and in the back, in back of him, one of the middle infielders is adjusting his cup. Brad Kominsk, pretty much just a backup outfielder. Terry Francona, more well known as a major league manager, currently with the Indians, won a World Series title with the Red Sox. He was the manager that helped the Red Sox win their first World Series title in almost 100 years. He spent most of his career as a pinch-hitting backup first baseman and outfielder. Mitch Wild Things Williams had a very interesting career, mainly as a closer. He was a guy, he didn't know where the pitch was going, had a crazy windup. I really enjoyed him. He later on became a TV analyst, and I really liked his analysis of games and players. Final card is Lee Smith, Hall of Famer Lee Smith. Spent a number of years with the Cubs, Cardinals, Red Sox, Reds, Angels. He was a really great reliever for the Cardinals the 2 or 3 years he was with them. Problem was, it just didn't get him into the playoffs. All right, my favorite card out of this pack, or what I think is the best card out of this pack, is going to be, let's see, where is he? Did I go that far? Let me find it here. Charlie Huff. I really liked Charlie Huff growing up. The way he threw the knuckleball just made that ball dance. I tried so often when I was playing high school baseball to throw a knuckleball, could never get it to pan out. He seemed like he pitched forever. In fact, I think his first year was late 60s. No, his first year was in the 70s with the Dodgers. He came up as a 22-year-old with the Dodgers, and then by the time 1989 rolled around, he's 41. He still pitched in a few seasons after that with the Marlins. I think he retired in 93, 94, somewhere around there. So that is my favorite card or best card out of the pack. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, please subscribe and share. Until next time when I crack pack number 10 from my 1996 top Cello box. Remember, I'm doing this for science.